How's it guys? Juan from Heever here. Welcome back to another episode of my Lightroom tutorial series. Today is episode number 4 and today we're taking a look at the local adjustments in the Lightroom develop module. To navigate to the develop module, you can either go to the little drop down list up here and click develop, or you can just click the keyboard shortcut D, which will be doing the same thing. So over here on the right hand side, these options and sliders here are your global adjustments, and these ones up here are your local adjustments. So these ones are quite finicky and some of them do take quite a while to master. Right, so the first one up here is crop, which is pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. Here you can drag these sliders around here to select the crop you want, or you can just drag inside the box to whichever crop you would like. Then you can also go down here and change the angles to get the horizon straight. An easier way to get the horizon straight is by clicking on, go back, on this little ruler up here, and then clicking and dragging along the horizon, and the system will then auto straighten that line that you have drawn. You can then also change the aspect ratios here to a custom or a specified aspect ratio. A lot of competitions require a certain aspect ratio for the images that are being entered. This is also another way just to change the angle, but you can reset it right there. Right, so next up is healing. What healing does is it allows you to remove specific areas of your image. You can change the size on the little slider here, or if you have a computer with a trackpad, you can just swipe up or down on your trackpad. Might need to use 2 fingers depending on the system you're running, and you can also use the scrolling wheel on your mouse if you're using a mouse. Next up is feather, and what feather does is it increases and decreases the transition size or the transition area of your of the change you're making. I usually keep my feather on 0 because I would want clean, sharp lines. I don't want it to look like I have removed something from the image. And then opacity is basically just how much do you want to remove the thing you want to remove. I usually keep it on 100 because if I choose to remove things out of the image, I want to remove it outright. One of the things that Lightroom has also implemented, which helps quite a lot, is a way to visualize spots. So a lot of times if you have dust on your image sensor, like I have here, you can see here there are a few little dust spots scattered around the image, which can be quite hard to see at first. But if you go down here to visualize spots, which adds a filter which makes it easier to see where these dots are that you have to remove. So you can just make it small enough, a little bit bigger just to give you some wiggle room. You can just click on them and it will remove them. It's not doing everyone, just doing some, just to show you basically the way it works. And if you then unclick visualize spots, the keyboard shortcut here is A, so you can click A to toggle it on and off. You'll also notice that it has 3 modes. So the 3 modes are content aware removal, which is this one, healing, and then cloning. So what cloning does is wherever you take something out of an image, it replaces it with the exact thing. So let's say I want to remove this part of the tusk. I remove that there. This will put a direct clone, 100% carbon copy on the area that you want to have removed. And then the next one is content aware remover, which is this one here on the left hand side. And what it does is it tries to impute what you want to remove out of your image, and it tries to find the best replacer for the area you want to remove. So let's say I want to remove this part of the tree here. I can just paint the area in. Obviously not doing the entire tree, just to give you an example. There we go, that's enough. And then it's going to analyze it and it's going to give me something. So there it's done its best to try and see where it can remove what. Obviously this isn't perfect because I haven't really done it very well. But yeah, this is basically just to give you an idea. And then the one I use the most is this one here in the middle. It's called clone. What cloning does is it's very similar to content aware remover, but it's not as refined. So as you can see, it takes from another area. Just move it around a bit just to find the best spot for you. And I find it often doesn't work very well if you have a dark area bordering what you are removing. So if you want to, for instance, remove a bird out of a frame, that's in the background or something like that, it does it very, very, very well. And it also color matches everything in the area. So it blends it very well from the area you're removing to what is bordering the area you're removing. Then over to the third one is red eye correction. Obviously, I don't have a red eye here, but just the way it works is you have red eye or PET or pet eye. You basically just click on the eye and it's going to tell me that there isn't a red eye. But it basically just finds the red eye and it fixes it. You can also scroll up and down to increase the size of the red eye. And then pet eye is similar. I would suggest toggling between the two to find out which one works best. So I often find that pet eye works better on images where you've, for instance, used a flash and the pupil of the animal is quite bright. And then over here on your far right hand side, this is where you're going to be spending a lot of time on your local adjustments. This is where you're going to be adding brushes and gradients and adding masks to your image. So Lightroom has recently brought out these three ones right here: subject, sky, and background, which makes it quite easy to mask specific areas of your image. So for instance, if I want to mask Craig, the elephant here, I can just click on subject. It's going to go detect the subject. You can see it's made him red. So everything that is red is going to be affected by the mask you put on. So here I can now move the exposure up or down. I can increase the temperature and basically do all of these things to the image. So I want to add some clarity, some texture, and open up the shadows a little bit. Open up the shadows a little bit. There you can see it's done quite a bit. So I can go from back here on him. So if you don't want that red color, you can just press O, which is the keyboard shortcut to show or remove the red color, or you can just click this little box up here, which will then also take it away and put it back. There you can see the before and the after. Then you can also click on the plus here and then add quite a few different other things. So I can select the sky. It's working on selecting the sky now. And there you can see everything that is red. It has picked up the sky quite nicely. Here I can darken a little bit, a little bit of dehaze, some clarity, a little bit of color, and then also some contrast so that any of the clouds do pop up a little bit more. Now I can see the before and the after. There we go. Right, so then you'll also see the option for brushes with the keyboard shortcut K. So brushes are basically everything that these other ones do here, just more customizable. So a brush is basically just a way to paint a specific area into the frame that you want to be changed. So I've now painted that little area there. I can change that exposure there, make it darker, make it brighter, you can do whatever to it. And it obviously works quite well to change smaller details of the frame. So if we wanted to make this tree a little bit lighter, that one a bit darker, make the bottom a bit darker, I can do all of that with the brush tool. Also, you can at any time delete any of these layers just by clicking the delete or backspace button. And then down here, you can also use a linear gradient, which is an easy way to change a foreground or a horizon if you're taking landscapes, for instance. So the way you activate it is you click on an area and you drag away from the area you want to change. You see it's making three lines. So the top line is where the transition ends, the bottom is where the transition begins, and the middle is where the transition is 50% of the value that you're changing it to. So you can then drag it up and down, and you'll see as I drag it around, the red part of the image moves with it. And then from here, you can just once again change anything you want about it. Make it a little bit darker, not a little bit too dark. Decrease contrast, increase texture, and a little bit of color. And there you can see the before and the after. There we go. You also have a radial gradient, which does a similar thing to the linear gradient. It's now just in a circle. So if I wanted to change the area around the elephant, including the elephant, I just go to the middle of him and then I drag around. And there you can see, once again, everything that's red will be changed. I can now make that lighter or darker, depending on what I want to do with the image. I can also change the feather here, how long it takes for it to transition. There we go. And then just backspace if I want to delete it. And then down here, you'll also see 3 options for color, luminance, and depth range, which is a way of selecting specific colors in the image. So if I wanted to select all the blue in the image, I'd drag a box around all the colors that I want to change, and it's going to impute which areas are a similar shade of blue, and it's going to give me an area of just blue that I can change. There we go. So now you can see it's almost done a better job than the sky selecting. Very similarly to color range, luminance range looks for areas of the same tonal value, so the same brightness. And I can see it's also selected areas of a similar luminance range. Everything that's darker has not been affected. Right, so that is basically it for Lightroom's local adjustments. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to send me a WhatsApp or a DM on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. There we go. Thanks, guys. Take care, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Cheers, cheers.